Studio Galaxy 473, and we're operating in Confero. And welcome to all who are able to listen to us in the diaspora or based upon the technology available to us now. Welcome. Welcome to Studio Galaxy 473. And today, Saturday, you are with the Galaxy Equalizers. And as we address our agricultural program for the next hour, and the theme is agriculture review and looking forward. We had a very eventful 2024. We were visited by the master of nature. Shake us up a bit, and that should make us a better people, a wiser people. Sometimes when you have what we call disaster or Mother Nature flex the muscle, it's not to hurt you, it's not to harm you, it's to wake you up so you will do things better. And today we have with us our brother Joshua. Who better to speak about reviewing agriculture and looking forward? My brother, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and good morning to everybody in the diaspora, at home, worldwide. Today is our last program for 2024 in terms of the agriculture program. The next time we speak with you, we'll be speaking with you in 2025. So, those of you who've been supporting and listening, thank you very much. We're very grateful as we grow the program. Now, we're going to review 2024 as best as we can. As Mr. Pierre had indicated, we had a shock in 2024 with Beryl, and Beryl dominated the second part of the year in terms of agriculture. But prior to Beryl, we had what's commonly called the Agricom project in Grenada. So that's a World Bank project, and the component of that was to do land clearance, and there was a special project going around in terms of planting ginger and planting sweet potatoes and a number of other root crop. Cassava, I think, was one of them. And I know we had one of our brothers working in the finance ministry who was trying to revitalize the banana planting industry. Um, those projects, in terms of outcomes, which is what people are interested in, they were tremendously delayed and delayed. And even today, I think only last week, people started getting planting plans from the project to plant. No, not last week, maybe about 3 weeks ago. The banana plants have still not arrived. I think there's been issues in terms of that. And currently, we are importing bananas from the Dominican Republic so that we can put them to ripen and sell them. And that is more to do with Beryl than anything else, because we had a fair supply of bananas on island and plantain that would kind of take us through without any great production. But the second half of the year, we were devastated. So I think a few farmers, I believe it's farmers, entrepreneur, they started importing banana. And so we're going to have a bit of a lull in terms of root crops and a lot of the major crops. So it's going to take a little while for those things to come back. Now, in terms of poultry, poultry made a little progress in 2024. We had two major plants opening in 24, poultry plants. One in Montrose, which had opened before, and the owner said when they opened before, it was to do testing and to see what they needed. But that plant is now open in Montrose and supplying chicken to a range of establishments. We also had Mr. Kyron Cosdale, who came to see us in the studio to talk about his project in Felix Park. That is the bigger of the two projects. I think the investment in that is probably about 35, $40 million. And that opened maybe about 4 weeks ago. It's selling baby chicks and as well as selling fresh chicken, growing chicken, etc. So it's very early days for them because I imagine what they're doing at the moment is testing the market with their prices, their distribution, etc. But it's very much welcome in terms of the poultry industry. Government have been helping, as far as I know. They government are working on the feed issue in terms of availability and quality of feed and pricing of feed. And I know they have engaged Caribbean Agro or ADM Caribbean Agro. ADM is the parent company of Caribbean Agro. So we shall interchange from time to time. You'll have me saying ADM or Caribbean. It's one of the same I'm talking about. So it people in the negotiations and the ministry are very hopeful that they will achieve a result whereby prices will be reduced significantly for a period of years, be it 5 years, 10 years, to get the industry going. Another significant development in terms of livestock has been the importation of new breeds of goats and sheep and pigs, etc. I think about last week or maybe 2 weeks ago we talked about it, and Mr. Pierre wasn't that enthusiastic about it. I think people were joking about they go eat the animals, and I was saying the animals have antibiotics in them. And I think so. Probably Mr. Pierre was saying, "Don't worry about that. That's to scare people. But please don't steal the animals or eat it. We need it for breeding." So there's some development in terms of getting quality stock into our livestock. So that has been going on. I think there was announcement about a tissue culture being established at Maribor. I'm not sure whether it's fully operational as yet, but I do know that people are very enthusiastic, and I saw staff from Maribor going on TV and saying it's much needed. And I'm not sure whether it was being supported by a number of agencies, including the Chinese, but that is very much welcome. That will add to the supply and quality of plants and products that we get in. So that was a significant development. Now, let's just turn to Beryl because I don't want to take up too much time. Mr. Pierre, if you can remember anything in terms of the first part or the first half of 2024 that I've forgotten, please add. Now, 2024, the second part was taken up with Beryl and the devastation. Beryl, you know, really mash up Carriacou and Petit Martinique and the north of our island. Satin, St. Andrews, are severely affected, and it showed us the weakness. We had the devastation of cocoa and nutmeg, uh, all the tree crops was affected, and we were talking about how we can, have better rooting in terms of these crops. We were talking about looking at a mixture between root crops and tree crops and livestock, a combination of those things going forward. Um, it caused us even to review our building code, and the government has taken steps in terms of reviewing the building code and making sure that our buildings are more resilient
The
to shock.
taking step or the planning to take step? Because like taking step means perhaps the
Action.
planning, they want to take step.
Yeah,
I
well,
remember the number to call is 536-2558.
hmm
We believe we have grown, and maybe we will able to take your call as soon as you call. The
hmm
number to call is 536-2558. We were just reviewing what took place before, and we're looking forward. Well,
yeah,
Beryl came, but the government come up with an initiative to assist the income of the farmers.
yeah,
I think the initiative, as they announced first,
hmm
was that you register with the Ministry of Agriculture, you gave your bank account number,
hmm
your NIS number,
hmm
and your farmer's registration card identification.
yeah,
Simple.
yeah,
If you have 5 acres of land or less, you
hmm
get $5,000,
both,
4,500.
yeah,
If you have over 5 acres of land, you get $9,000.
yeah,
That was simple, straightforward. You go to agriculture, you register, you're bringing you farmer's registration card. If you don't have one, agriculture start the process to make one for you.
yeah,
You bring in your bank account number or your account number in any financial institution, because the government claimed they was not paying check straight to the bank.
hmm
That evolved. Then we heard the government was paying checks. The ministers went out and give checks. Some
hmm
of us with pessimistic mind, and some might even say not to liking the NDC, felt that most of the people that were receiving check seems to be more aligned to the NDC. But again, as I say, some of us with pessimistic mind, because we knew the people in the community.
hmm
So they gave check. Then we heard a farmer claiming that he had 80 acres of land, he get $4,500. Some solid farmers we know up to today has not received any money from the government.
yeah, and that's
But I
really
promised them,
disappointing.
I told the farmers, government money show, but it does take long.
It's taking long. I have been following that as well, and I was so optimistic that farmers will get their final allotment before Christmas, and up to now, there's a number of the bigger farmers who's received nothing. So that's very, very
Unfortunate and sad.
yeah, very disappointing.
Another challenge we had, the
hmm
government seems, and I say seems because nothing was clear. Once the government started to change, they gave check, nothing was clear. We got the impression there was a deadline.
hmm
And when we spoke to some farmers, we heard that there was not a deadline. And up to today, I know some farmers went to the agriculture department yesterday. Yesterday was a working day
yes,
to register, and
yeah,
they told them the deadline is off. If you don't
yeah,
register yet, you out.
yeah.
So the information coming from the government was not too clear.
Yeah. Well, I think it was clear, to be fair. The PS in agriculture said that there's a cutoff time for
When
processing.
was the cutoff time?
The cutoff time was the end of November. That's for processing. That doesn't mean that it's a cutoff time to get assistance.
Then,
Now,
then
the minister came out and said something similar, that it's not too late. The funds are still available for farmers. So it depends on who you meet will tell you different information. But the minister was very clear and the PS was very clear. There's a cut-off time for this year, but that doesn't mean it's a cut-off time for the fund.
Then it seems that that information did not reach the Ministry of Agriculture. When the farmers go to the agriculture office, these are frontline officers.
Yes.
This is the officer you interact with.
Yes.
The farmer don't interact with the technical officer, the chief technical officer, the permanent secretary.
Yeah.
They interact with the extension officer. The extension officer say, we are not registering more. Time up. The deadline passed.
And that is so frustrating and so difficult because I've experienced that kind of message before. You know, the director saying one thing and the frontline staff saying something else. And you can't treat farmers like that, especially people who've been devastated in terms of the hurricane. And I think that's where the sensitivity sometimes is missing. It's like the humanity goes from sometimes our people. And that is the thing I notice the most in our society. That kind of wanting to work to rule. That is the rule. And quite often people make it up. I've come across a lot of situations where people have said, oh, this bank is no good and that bank is no good. And it turns out you meet an officer who probably is not very competent. And the impression given is somehow this bank is rotten.
In terms of agriculture, I'm jumping to the defense of the extension officer now. The extension officer is a frontline officer. The extension officer don't take orders from the minister. And people must get that in their head. The minister cannot give instruction to any extension officer. The minister speaks to the permanent secretary. And the technical officers, perhaps heads of department. They are the ones to instruct extension officers. So if an extension officer hears something from the minister on the radio, he cannot implement it. He may inquire from the officer in charge. The officer in charge says, I did not hear that. So when the farmer comes to that extension officer, they cannot say the minister say. And our ministers, we know they're brand new and are neophytes. But the protocol officers was supposed to put them sit down and explain to them. The ministry of a bureaucracy. The politician cannot give instruction to a public officer. We have a caller on the line? Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, good morning to you, sir.
Yes, we hear you loud and clear. Go right ahead.
All right, and good morning to the doctor, Mr. Joshua Lewis.
Yes.
Right.
Good morning.
Yes, you have a great day, sir. And season greetings also.
And to you.
Best wishes for the new year.
All right, and to you.
I'll tell you something. When I hear you talk about the Phillips Park farm, I feel proud of the Phillips Park farm. Because that whole process of development in Phillips Park rested on my shoulder. I started this. Yeah? So Phillips Park is now a tongue, and I'm very, very proud of that. I am trying to get the governments to revisit that area, but on the Mount Castleland settlement where I lived, and where all the residents left because of the condition of the road. I would like the government to revisit that, either through what they call the BNTF, or maybe a Ministry of Work program to have this road completed, and electricity and water be placed in that area, because the families expressed interest in going back there. This used to be a banana area, nutmeg, spices, clove, highly productive area, and I would like to see that return. I might go back there too. I'm not outruling that. But the road, key, yeah?
Yeah.
This road should be rebuilt. I'm not talking about pitch road there, bitumen. It has to be concreted because there's patches of concrete there. That would lead to Poli to go back to Mama Can and Bacolet. I would like to see the electricity this area develop once again, and the residents be back, because as I said, it was very highly productive area, and sticking to the people who lived in that area and the offspring, they expressed interest in going back to these areas. And I would like to see this area resuscitated quickly, as we attempt to rebuild the economy. But you talk bananas. How we're not talking St. David's for bananas, because we used to be a highly productive area in banana. I'm not here talking about bananas for St. David. Have you targeted any particular farmer in St. David's as a result of going back into this banana business? These areas I'm talking about were highly productive in banana. And but the roads. Is there any immediate plan, to have the agricultural roads, feeder roads, farm roads revisited? I heard our Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Thomas, said that he's not good. The government is not going to put concrete. They're going to put binders, and I condemn it, because binders is mud. And if you're going to have heavy activities in this area, traversing this, you're going to turn back into real mud. So I am saying, let us give the farmer what the farmer needs, because I'll tell you something. In my vision, I am seeing a restaurant going in the high mountain area where we can use the lands as the attraction for bringing in tourists. Because in my time, tourists used to be 5 miles from the bay, and tourists used to be visiting our area, going up to the mountain. I used to wonder what they're going for. But they're exploring. And what I know that was very good at is the Soko or Cocoa, right? So these things should come back. So we want the farm roads must be built in a way where the farmer could diversify into the restaurant, into the mountain area. And I believe it's going to attract more clientele than those on the salted area down on the lowland. Where we can use the very field, beautify of it, because I always believe in beauty culture. When you plant in a crop, you must have flowers around. Things that will attract people, to bring them in. So if you can bring in the tourists there, or visitors there, you would have things to sell them. You could also maybe have a fee instituted for visiting any farm. You could have a fee. So if you want to visit my farm, you pay $5 and you visit my farm, you explore my farm. And all this sort of thing, I believe we have to bring back as we attempt to go the alcohol. But we can't be talking, and talking money, but we're not creating the area for bringing in the money. So I would like you, in your as you dispense your program, focus on these areas so that the government can make a move in building back the roads to access the farm. Because I believe the farmers should be able to live on his farm as we try to deal with radiolaciny. The farmer can, once you have the water, electricity, you can build on your farm and watch your farm for yourself, even in the high mountain area. So roads, very critical, water and electricity. So we have what you call village farms.
So thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your contribution. But I have one little bit of advice. Because you're in St. David, you're in a great area, because the minister in charge of St. David's, I believe, is the Prime Minister. So rather than talk, as you say, I would advise you to go down and book a slot with the Prime Minister, because what you're talking about is helpful to the development of the country. So take it a step further and go in terms of the constituency day and have a discussion with the Prime Minister.
I
Thank
am
you.
tired. I am really tired. I had many calls to the Prime Minister's office, leaving my number for him to call because my sight is not good to actually do walking and so if we could have a good telephone conversation because I am the one who resuscitated Malmong Bay where he owns the land on the beach and I am the person who bring back the road there and clean up the beach single-handedly and with the help of the government to some extent past and a group that I have. But it has gone back to what it used to be.
Yeah.
The beach is very dusty again,
Yeah.
and he owns there.
Yeah.
He knows me very well, I believe, not because we spoke, but based on what people told him, I believe. He knows me, and maybe he's trying to avoid me because they know that I'm a no-nonsense person. I don't make jokes as it relates to people's well-being and this development. And so they're scared that if they approach me, what I will bring to them, because I will demand, and they maybe don't want to meet that demand, so they're avoiding me, I believe. You know, all of them avoiding because they know me very well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah?
Yes, thank
Have
you.
a good day, sir.
Because what we do on this program is to provoke discussion and lobby and try to wake up all the authorities that be. Yeah? It's an area that perhaps worthy of development and the poultry. And that's what happened. When you have big projects in an area, you have the multiplying, rippling effect. And that is so Crossdale project have to be welcome and is one of the highlights we would say in the past.
Yeah, and from what this gentleman is saying, you know, and what you are saying, this is exactly what's supposed to happen. The stimulus, the ripple effect is rippling, and this gentleman is saying it's time to go back and develop the surrounding areas.
Yes, so the government in the question is the way forward. And we have to see hurricanes, volcanoes, natural phenomenons. When it reaches us, we call it disaster. But Mother Nature must call it a good natural phenomenon to wake up lazy people. So here we had the hurricane, and we seemed unprepared as we were when Ivan came.
Yeah.
It was sad and it was unfortunate. The Nagma or who, they were not prepared.
Yeah.
The government of Grenada, sadly, was more unprepared than when Ivan came. The government seems to panic. They went on holidays. Prior to the hurricane, about 6 of the ministers left the country. Although they had information from the weather experts that this hurricane heading for Grenada, they went out.
Yeah.
The Minister of Education, this one have to go down in history. He took holiday during the disaster, and the farmers was left stranded for too long. Well, even though they are stranded, I believe a fly sheet. I know the government want to digitalize. I don't agree with that. A fly sheet should come out to farmers, reassuring them, providing information, giving them tidbits what to do, how to handle. Because some of them farmers dead. The pressure, they couldn't take it because they saw no help coming.
Yeah.
And even when the government initiated the income support, it had nothing to do with agriculture, you know. Income support. I thought it was welcome, but it was a crazy agriculture initiative.
Yeah, it was a very good thing, but it got conflated because I've heard the ministers saying, and I've heard different officials saying, well, you should use it to build back your farm. And then, you know, these people have lost their income. Sometimes there's 4 or 5 of them in the family. If you give an income support so that people could pay Grenlek and pay Nawasa, buy a little grocery and pay Grenlek, that money will be eaten up. They might even have a little loan that they have to pay. Now, what I'm seeing happening is dangerous, because what I'm seeing happening is that we've got a little fund, as Mr. Pierre said, most welcome. And as he also said, we've lost some farmers as a result of Barrett's. It's been devastating. And sometimes, it's difficult for all of us because it's people we know and have worked with. So, what is being hidden at the moment in terms of the way forward is, what is the recovery plan for Beryl? How are we going to recover from Beryl? Or is it that we've given people a little income support to help get them through the next kind of 3 or 4 months, and
That is it.
that's it? That's not good enough.
And that is what is unfortunate as
Mhm,
we look forward.
mhm,
Looking forward
mhm,
saddens your heart.
mm,
As a farmer looking forward,
mhm,
it seems as though some of the initiative the government is taking is some of the failed initiative
mm,
that was done 30, 40, and 20 years ago.
mhm, mhm,
This livestock initiative is a joke.
mhm,
It's a joke. If
mhm,
the government had, I do not believe that the government consulted with the veterinary officer or the chief technical officer.
mhm.
This government initiative remind me of about 30 to 40 years ago. One minister went in London in a show
Mm,
and he saw a bull. I think it was a Chevrolet bull.
mm,
Big, massive bull
mm,
in an agricultural exhibition show.
mhm.
The minister buy the bull. The minister said that is a good bull to improve the breeding stock in Grenada. The
Mhm,
minister buy the bull
mhm,
and had this big, massive bull
mhm, mhm.
come down to Grenada. They put it on the farm. I think it's in not Lara. When I remember the farm name, I'll tell you. The government farm. Somebody call me and tell me the farm name.
Mhm,
And the females there, the officers there, afraid to put the male on the female because the female had little bodies. So they was making a stand to get the female to go inside it
mhm,
so the male could jump the back.
mhm,
I happened to visit the farm because I went to transport a farmer.
mhm.
And I said, no, remember, Delilah destroyed David. Was David destroyed? Samson.
Samson.
So just let go the bull, female dead, and who breed.
Oh,
Because at that stage, the bull was in Grenada 1 year,
God.
and the officer afraid to put the bull on the female. It's a
Okay.
massive bull, and the female little bodies. But when I remember, as a religious man, when I remember what Delilah do to Samson, I said, let go the bull.
Oh dear.
I argued with them, let go the bull. And I told them, I'll buy the first male.
Mhm.
I'll buy the first male that it comes. They did let go the bull, and the bull was able to breed some of the females.
Mm, very
And they
good.
did call me, and I bought the first male from them.
Yeah, wonderful.
This initiative that the government doing now, the government lack technical advice.
Mm-hmm.
There is no need. Every time a country want to develop their stock, they go outside. No.
Mm-hmm.
What you need to do is to develop the stock that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need to bring in genetic material, bring in 1 or 2 males.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go and bring in 100 males,
Mm-hmm.
100 females. That's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
You bring in 1 or 2 males, or you bring in AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I heard that the pigs, the I don't know what you call them. They say they're big as cattle.
Well, yes, they must be going to show again. If you want to you bring swines, little 30, 40 pound,
Yeah.
5 or 6 weeks old
Mhm.
swines.
Mhm.
You can't go and bring this massive pigs. When they
Mhm.
come here, you have problem with adjusting, management, handling.
Mhm.
Our workers and other custom dealing with these big animals. You don't have methods
Yeah.
to restrain them.
And you have to redesign the
You
pen.
have to redesign the pen, the losses. By the
Uh,
time you finish fix the pen, the bow can't serve again. You get too old.
yeah, yeah.
So we continue to recycle mistakes because our government have to understand, our politicians have to understand. They
Mhm.
have absolutely no experience in politics. So they must prepare to consult,
Mhm.
have consultation with some of the people who in agriculture who would have made mistakes and correct it.
Okay.
This thing is recycling mistakes.
Yeah.
So as we look forward, this is one of the initiative
Mhm.
that they bring in that they feel comfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what else is new?
Mhm.
We are buying bananas from
Dominican Republic.
the Dominican Republic. We couldn't get bananas from Dominica St. Lucia.
I
It's a
don't know.
question to ask.
Yeah, yeah.
Why couldn't we get bananas from Dominica or St. Lucia? Right. We brought in bananas from the Dominican Republic. So we have it already. But remember, this hurricane passed in June. It's in June this hurricane passed. Banana is a 6 to 9 month course. You had millions of dollars. So the government could have planted 20 acres of banana in Montreach.
Yeah. I mean,
20 acres of banana in Grand Estate.
we missed an opportunity.
20 acres of banana in Bellevue.
We missed an opportunity.
And by March, we would have had banana.
Yeah, we really missed an opportunity, Mr. Pierre. And it's leadership again, is vision and leadership. So you just told a really nice story. I enjoyed listening to it.
The bull.
Yeah.
Well, that was the biggest joke in the ministry.
Yes. uh, I'm sorry, audience, to be so boring, but I can't be as exciting as Mr. Pierre. So I'm going to tell
you didn't see the Shaolin bull. And if you see them little females, but I always have a lot of confidence in our females. I said the females could take the male.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna give you my take in terms of the way forward. It's boring.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, once again, Mr. Z. Good morning once again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you something. You mentioned something that is so critical there. And it has to do with, as you say, every time we need to do something, we have to bring somebody from overseas. So as it relates to our livestock, now, as you mentioned, instead of bringing in 100 females, why don't you bring in one male? And then you have them thread and so to create what you want. But here is something, sir. You heard me said from time to time that we're stuck in theory. We have all the qualified people here. And talking to you and talking to Mr. Samuel Joseph, I get to realize that all this thing you're saying that we had it here before.
Mm-hmm.
But where we lost our way. That we no longer have these things on the export. We have to import export when we had the export here.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the problem here. We stuck in theory. So we have the knowledge base, but we cannot transform that from the knowledge into the reality. Because we are afraid this thing we call trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
Your own experimentation. I suggest that every farmer should have an experimental station on his farm.
Mm-hmm.
So he can do his own experiment. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than importing somebody to experiment and to come up with what we should come up with ourselves.
Yeah.
We have the farmer experimenting for themselves. I did it. When I showed my mother the little fire post tomato graduate into 1.5, 2 pounds, she marveled.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you get this? I said, no, this is a tomato by the fireside.
Mm-hmm.
That was drying year after year after year. I took it and I did my own experimentation. And I got it to come up to the size 3 for group. But it was that large, amazingly. So we can do this thing for ourselves. We can influence this thing for ourselves by trial and error,
Mm-hmm.
experimentation.
Yeah.
So we have to challenge our people, qualified people, certified people, those who are here.
Mm-hmm.
Get down to the reality. Use the brain. I always say to my friends, could we make a bomb? We have the physicists, we have the biologists, we have the chemists, we have everything. We must know what we can do. Identify your various scientists, have an inventory of your scientists, document them, and give them what it takes to experiment and to come up with a final product. We have to challenge our educators. We have to challenge our people, our young people who we send to colleges and universities. We can't want people to come here after we train them to show them what they should have done for themselves. So I want to send a challenge to the authorities and to the young people here who have the capabilities that they could experiment and come up with their own thing to do so. Other than that, we're going to be wasting a lot of money and wasting time.
Yes.
So, Mr. Pierre, keep on expanding the brain that you have there and helping us to expand our brain's thought process. Because I believe in imagination, yeah? Because that is the first step to creativity. Yeah?
Yes.
Keep on keeping on.
Yes, scholar, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. I think our people have to understand what you mean when you say new breed. Mm-hmm. We have a call on the line? What you mean? I visited a farmer by coincidence. The farmer had some nice black-head sheep. Mm-hmm. And I was attracted to those sheep. The head is black. Most of the part of the body is white. Mm-hmm. But I was attracted to these sheep because the sheep was not affected by sandflies. So I asked the farmer, you have some nice sheep. They tell me they want a new breed. I said, well, what breed do you want? They said they want black belly. Somebody promised them black belly, and they was going to pay $3,000 for a black belly ram. The farmer was not a rich man. I shocked. I said to the farmer, you don't need black belly. You have a good breed of sheep. We don't buy mutton by the cuts, the loin, and ribs. We buy meat by the chop up. Yes, when we go and ask for a pound of meat, they chop it up, they put some bone in it, and they give us.
Yeah, and
that's how we buy meat in Grenada.
And they tell you they don't buy the cattle without the bone.
And they don't buy cattle without bone. So you don't need loin and ribs and sirloin. So what new breed you want? Yeah. The farmer didn't hear. And he said he was going to get new breed. I decided to monitor that farm. The black belly cannot stand our conditions with sand flies in the high belly. He eat out all the four round the eye. Ooh. When you watch the black belly, you feel to vomit. The black belly is known to be very prolific. You might make 3 or 4 young ones. Do you have the means for it to carry 4 young ones? It's like a woman make twins. But the woman had malnutrition. She eat dust and charcoal. She had stress from her boyfriend. He said the child is not his. The child dead. It's same thing with the sheep. If you don't have good nutrition, the sheep cannot carry the 3 or 4 it makes.
Mm-hmm.
And you leave the blackhead sheep tend to be very resistant against sandfly. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're in the higher belt
Mm-hmm.
where you have mosquito and sandfly, what you want with blackberry.
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing that is stuck
Mm-hmm.
in these dumb politician head.
Mm-hmm.
What you want new breed for?
Mm-hmm.
We have the breeds in Grenada. What we need is to develop the breed.
Develop.
You
Mm-hmm.
speak to a bee farmer, he want bees from away. We have the bees here. You don't need to bring in bees. We're winning honey show all over the world. We are good honey.
Mm-hmm.
What you want new breed for?
Yeah. You make a very good point, Mr. Pierre.
I hope politicians hear this point.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna make a few points, not as kind of exciting and charismatic as Mr. Pierre,
You
because
say, guys, a man would say he's speaking like if he in the rum shop.
yeah, but it's nice to listen to. So, in terms of the way forward, for agriculture as we go into 2025, I think we need a national review in terms of what we want from our agriculture. What is the vision that we want for agriculture? What are the outcomes we want from agriculture? And I think those things has to be put in um, an agricultural policy. They have to be put into a strategic plan for agriculture, and most of all, we still need that recovery plan for Beryl. I think we need a roadmap. These plans will give us a roadmap for agriculture. And we need to think differently about how we fund agriculture. I think, we've seen the power of, the CBI project. And the emphasis for that has been on the south of the island, more tourism, hotel. I think let's direct it at agriculture now because we need the shade houses, we need the greenhouses, we need the irrigation, we need the government farms to be rehabilitated, we need the tractors, etc. We need that infrastructure in terms of agriculture in Grenada. Recently, I was just kind of checking on figures and different things, and I saw that over the past 3 years, the USA subsidized its farmers by $27 billion. Now, agriculture in terms of competitiveness, it's almost impossible for countries to compete with a country subsidizing its agriculture by so much. And that country, the USA, has flat lands as well, and it's mechanized, etc. But we have to work with what we have. We have to work with our livestock in terms of policies. We have to work with our tree crops, but we need a plan. We can't say to well, we don't even say that to farmers. We just hope farmers would do something or plant a tree here, plant a this here. The Nutmeg and Cocoa Association has to come up with a plan and it has to be financed. Are we rehabilitating cocoa? Is the variety that we have what we want? Do we want to increase the acreage in terms of cocoa and nutmeg, or do we want the same? But we must stop working blind because the way that I see it, and sometimes me and Mr. Pierre disagree, because I firmly believe what we've done, we've taken over from the colonial system, and we've not made the colonial system a modern system that's fit for purpose. We just carried it on because it was existing. And I think it's time for us to do a national review about agriculture, for us to create a vision that all the country could stand behind and everybody knows what they're doing. It goes without saying that we have a structure based on the marketing board model, but we don't have to have one big model. We could have a marketing board for, say,
I
Paracletos.
thought we're done with the marketing booth. You see,
No,
we're
but,
talking the way forward, and it's
no,
practically contradictory to the government.
no, but we need something similar that farmer could produce, because we're talking about production. We want farmers to produce similar to the poultry industry. The model that we're going towards is that we have these big satellite processing facilities. They contract the smaller farmers. The smaller farmer just produce and bring it to them, and that's it. So we don't want to make it complicated. So we want the cash crop farmers, tree crop farmers. They're producing, they're fertilizing, they're maintaining their fields. When they produce, they know what price they're getting. They bring it, marketing goods.
Perhaps we need to start to provoke farmers to wake up and mind your damn business.
Yeah.
We have micro farmers in Grenada.
Mhm.
Perhaps we need to ban the importation of all new breeds for 10 years.
Yeah.
Grenada should not bring in new breeds.
Yeah. But
There were big arguments
yeah.
in Guyana
Mhm.
40, 50 years ago. Who developed the black belly?
Mm.
And they would say it's Carriacou black belly.
Mhm.
But Barbados did the scientific work. It was a big development. What is happening in Grenada? We would never develop breeds if every day we're bringing in breeds.
I agree with you.
And this is one of the reasons I go back to John Compton. John Compton said the University of the West Indies have not done justice to agriculture.
Yeah.
We worse off than the days of Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Because in the days of Pharaoh, we had the bullocks and the cattle.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Jamaica Hope that was developed in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Why Grenada want to go outside to bring in animals?
Yeah.
Why Grenada don't develop their own breed of animal in Grenada?
Yeah. Before the program done, Mr. Pierre, I want us to talk
You
about...
have a last shot.
No,
we have about 4 minutes again. Punch.
I want us to talk about lobbying, because if you don't...
Well, we will have to talk about lobbying next week.
Yeah, because...
Let's promise the audience
Mm-hmm.
that next Saturday, the topic would be farmers lobbying.
Right, okay.
Next Saturday. We can touch lobbying now. So
Yeah.
make your last point. 1 minute.
Yeah. My last point is that agriculture is so big and so important. We need to kind of come together in order to, solve this agriculture problem. And we need to start tinkering with it. We can't put a little extra 10 cents and hope agriculture will revive. So I hope there's a recovery plan for the farmers. I pray that there is, because we need a plan to replant agriculture. This income support cannot be mistaken for, a recovery plan for Beryl.
Yes.
So together we can.
Yes, I believe the government, the farmers in this country must start to say, hell was a damn government. And the farmers must lobby. They must provoke discussion. They must make demands. They must improve the quality of their farms.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think the farmers need money to do it. They have the money. The farmers have the money to start to develop their farm.
Mm-hmm.
There are some stage where the farmer could grow yard full and have enough eggs to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to bring in new breeds.
Yeah.
We must able to do better.
Mm-hmm.
We have to sit down with our own children that we educate. Remind them, I educate you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a farm.
Mm-hmm.
What contributions you could make to develop my farm? You say you use agriculture export. You say you use nutritionist. You get F&N. You have computer science. Tell me how you could help me.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when we go next week. We're going to talk about farmers lobbying.
Yeah, and congratulations to the egg farmers, because I didn't hear much noise about shortage of eggs this Christmas.
When you tell farmers, eat more eggs. Eggs is healthy. It's good for your brain.
Yeah.
Eat more eggs.
And
if you're drinking rum, you need B12, you need vitamin.
Yeah,
so eat eggs.
And that's getting through, Mr. Pierre. You'll be amazed. A few people have spoken to me about that.
Well, eggs good, I know. You
Yeah.
think I could drink rum soup? You be 5, 6 eggs. All rum shops should be boiling eggs. You don't have to start with plenty. buy 2 eggs. If you don't sell, you just eat it. Next week, buy 2 more. And I'm absolutely certain, just so you have a whole tray of eggs. Because most of the roamers in Grenada have malnutrition. Thank you very much.
Thank
This
you.
is Studio Galaxy, and you had the Galaxy Equalizers. And in the next few minutes, we start the next program. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.